Let's take a look at Darth Vader's lightsaber. So this version of Darth Vader's lightsaber, it's a toy lightsaber that is exclusively available at the Disney store and also online at shopdisney.com. So here's the packaging. That's always kind of a nice first thing to look at. Now, one thing that I found interesting was, so I already got the Yoda lightsaber, and it's different packaging. So they both have the Star Wars branding, and then they both have the images on the side, but you can see that the color scheme is a little bit different. So yeah, I guess they changed the design at some point. So if we look at the Darth Vader one, though, we've got kind of this really dark color scheme that really, it sort of makes it pretty classy, but it also gels with the whole dark side thing with Darth Vader. A nice image of him over here. It's kind of funny, there's the lightsaber blade image, but not actually the hilt. So the hilt is actually not in view there, but I guess it's just because they wanted to have a pretty close image of him. And then it just says Darth Vader lightsaber, Star Wars branding, and then shows what's included. So the packaging is really attractive, but also just sort of a frustrating type of package to get into. We're all familiar with this kind of hassle packaging. But yeah, it does make for a nice display, and it's neat that this set and the lightsabers in this toy lightsaber electronic series, that they include the hilt, the blade, and the belt clip. And so there's a lot of functionality, a lot of value to all that being bundled together. So here is the reverse side, and you can see I kind of cheated with this. I wanted to kind of cut through some of this to cut down on the time that it takes to open up the packaging. But it just kind of shows, the lightsaber in the series, and features removable illuminated LED blade, push button activation, motion sensor controlled sound effects, power activation, humming, battle clash lights and sounds, and on-off switch. So that's pretty standard to the series. Now let's get to it. Let's see if I can open this up relatively easily. Well, yeah, that really helps to open up the back like that. Okay, so we still have the hilt and the blade kind of attached here. I'll come back to that. All right, there's the hilt. I want to be careful not to kind of ding the blade or the end of the blade. Okay, there we go. Let's kind of get that all sorted, all kind of in order. Okay, here's the hilt. Let's maybe just look at that on its own for a second. So this is a toy lightsaber. It's made of plastic, but it still has that kind of nice silvery color scheme to it, along with the black accents. As was the case with the Yoda lightsaber, the grips on this hilt are rubbery rather than plastic, so that's really sort of a nice touch. I guess maybe several sabers in the series will do that. Now the shroud at the top is that kind of hard plastic. That makes sense. We see some nice detailing. So this is the kind of episode 3 Darth Vader lightsaber version. So it has a couple of those details that you see with that saber. This middle part is kind of plastic as well, as opposed to rubber. And this will be the button to activate the hilt, it looks like. There's the sort of smaller CoverTech wheel at the bottom for wearing the hilt with a little screw attaching it, and then speakers at the bottom. So let's try out the demo. So it should be in demo mode, I would think, just opening it up. So that kind of goes through the sounds and such. Now let's find let's see. How do we get out of demo mode? Oh, it's down here. All right, so demo mode there. So if I move it up, I think that's off. Yeah, so there's like a circle means off. The line there is the demo, and then the bottom one, it's like a circle with a little line through it, and that should be the standard mode. So now if I try this again, so when you put it in the standard mode, it creates sort of a misfire sound if you just have the hilt without the blade attached. So that's what that's about. So let's get the blade. So this blade, how it works is you have this kind of blade housing on the end, contact points on the bottom, and then there's these little notches. So there's kind of a larger notch on one side and a smaller notch, and so you have to line that up. The larger notch is, the larger notch is in the front. You'll figure it out. It only works one way. So we kind of slide that in, and then once you're kind of toward the end, you turn it. So turn it, and then that locks it in place. So now we're good to go. Now what's neat with this series is, so this has a red blade, obviously. It's a fixed blade, rather than a telescoping blade. And it's really nice that it has this red blade too, so that it really has that vibe, that Darth Vader Sith vibe, even if you don't have the blade illuminated. That's kind of a neat touch there. But let's turn it on. There you go. You can see that it's lit up even more. Now you can kind of see the LEDs inside the blade. Has some of that responsiveness. There's that clash, so it creates like a little bit of a flash upon impact, but it also makes the hilt itself vibrate a bit, for added effect. So the motion sensitivity is definitely not as robust as some of the kind of adult collector type items, but this is a relatively affordably priced toy, and it kind of gets the job done that way. All right. Really nice scrolling effect too when you both turn on the lightsaber and turn it off. So yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna bring the blade. Now it's maybe a little hard to see. Yeah, I think this is gonna be hard to get on camera. But there's a spot in here that shows you where to turn the blade to unlock it or lock it. So you'll turn it back. Well, first you press the blade in, then turn it back towards you, and you can see it pop out. Now the blade, it is kind of it's kind of a tight fit, but at the same time, well, it's weird. So you never want to like force anything with lightsabers, because you can break them or get them stuck in a variety of contexts. But it does take a little bit of a push to get the blade installed at the same time. So you got to find that balance there. Now this set does come with a belt clip as well. So here is the belt clip. See, it has this nice Star Wars logo at the top. So you just kind of slide it in. It is kind of tough to slide with the belt clip too, but it's really quite secure. It does kind of rock to either side, or it can. But it stays fixed pretty well. Now, as you can see, the batteries were included with this, so that's kind of nice. But I guess, they want to do the demo in the store. If you're in the Disney store, they want it to be appealing that way. But anyway, so this lightsaber is part of a series that is, a bunch of other toy lightsabers that are character inspired like this. And yeah, so I previously reviewed the Yoda lightsaber, and I plan to review some of the other lightsabers in the series as well. So feel free to look for those.